Aaron sat in his dimly lit apartment, the cold night air seeping through the poorly insulated windows. His eyes were fixed on the blinking cursor on his laptop screen, where his bank balance displayed a disheartening $78.46. The silence of the room only amplified the storm of thoughts swirling in his mind. For years, he had nurtured a dream of breaking free from mediocrity and achieving financial freedom, but the reality before him painted a very different picture. His journey hadn't been an easy one. Growing up in a modest household, Aaron had witnessed his parents' relentless struggle to provide a stable life. Luxuries were an alien concept. Survival was the priority. He vividly remembered one particularly harsh winter when the heater broke down. Wrapped in layers of blankets, his family relied on a small electric heater that barely kept the chill at bay. It was during those freezing nights that Aaron silently vowed to change his fate. But dreams alone weren't enough. At 26, Aaron found himself trapped in a dead-end corporate job that drained his spirit. The paycheck barely covered his bills, leaving little room for aspirations. The endless cycle of work and survival left him questioning if his ambitions were even realistic. Despite his circumstances, Aaron refused to give up. Late at night, after exhausting workdays, he would immerse himself in books, podcasts, and videos about personal development and financial success. One common thread tied these stories together: the power of mindset. Aaron began to realize that the most successful individuals shared a unique way of thinking. They didn't just wish for success, they cultivated the habits, resilience, and strategies that brought their dreams to life. That realization marked a turning point. Aaron decided to shift his focus from what he lacked to what he could create. He began documenting his thoughts in a journal, writing affirmations that reflected the person he aspired to be. I am capable of achieving extraordinary success. Every challenge is an opportunity to grow. I am building the life I deserve. With his mindset fortified, Aaron knew he needed a concrete plan. He broke his ultimate goal, becoming a millionaire, into actionable steps. His first priorities were educating himself, cutting unnecessary expenses, and exploring side hustles that could supplement his income. These initial steps felt daunting, but they were necessary building blocks for the future he envisioned. The journey began with small but meaningful actions. Aaron devoured books on personal finance and entrepreneurship. He started budgeting meticulously, identifying areas where he could save. Late-night research sessions introduced him to the concept of dropshipping, a low-cost business model that aligned with his skills and resources. Despite the steep learning curve, Aaron threw himself into mastering the intricacies of this venture. His first attempts were riddled with challenges. From setting up an online store to navigating supplier issues, every step demanded perseverance. Sales were slow initially, but each transaction felt like a victory. Aaron reinvested his earnings into improving his store, enhancing product descriptions, optimizing delivery times, and ensuring excellent customer service. Progress was gradual, but it was progress nonetheless. Aaron's dedication didn't go unnoticed. At a local networking event, he crossed paths with Linda, a seasoned investor who saw potential in his relentless drive. She offered to mentor him, introducing Aaron to the fundamentals of investing and wealth creation. Under her guidance, he diversified his income streams, exploring opportunities in real estate and creating online courses that shared his journey with others. As Aaron's confidence grew, so did his network. New doors opened, bringing him closer to the financial freedom he had long envisioned. Every success, no matter how small, reinforced his belief that his dreams were achievable. Through setbacks and triumphs, Aaron stayed anchored to his affirmations, knowing that each step was bringing him closer to his ultimate goal. Aaron's mornings began with the soft hum of his alarm clock, pulling him from restless sleep. While most of the world hit snooze, Aaron had started to wake up with purpose. His notebook laid open on his bedside table, ready for the morning's ritual, revisiting his goals and setting the day's priorities. The routine felt small but significant, a daily reminder of the bigger picture he was working toward. But now, his dropshipping business had started gaining momentum. Sales were steady, and while he wasn't anywhere close to a millionaire yet, Aaron knew he was building something meaningful. He was beginning to understand the rhythm of entrepreneurship, the highs of seeing a new order notification, and the lows of dealing with returns or shipping delays. Each challenge demanded his attention, But rather than feeling overwhelmed, he felt alive. Every problem solved was another step forward. One evening, Aaron came across a concept that intrigued him: scaling. Most of his sales came from a single product he had marketed aggressively on social media. While this was profitable, he realized that relying on one product was risky. If its popularity faded, so would his income. Scaling, as he learned, involved diversifying his product range, automating certain processes, and reinvesting profits to reach larger audiences. It was ambitious, but Aaron was ready for the challenge. To start, he analyzed his store's data, identifying patterns in customer behavior. What else could his audience want? Over the next few weeks, he introduced complementary products and experimented with bundle deals. His marketing efforts expanded too. He invested in learning about Facebook ads, Google Analytics, and SEO optimization, realizing that to scale effectively, he had to master these tools. The results were promising. Sales increased, and his store was generating consistent revenue. However, success brought its own set of challenges. Aaron began struggling to balance his full-time job with the demands of his growing business. Late nights turned into sleepless ones as he managed customer inquiries, coordinated with suppliers, and strategized for growth. His performance at work started slipping, and his boss took notice. One Friday afternoon, he was called into the manager's office. "Aaron, I've noticed your focus has been elsewhere," his manager said, folding her hands across the desk. "Is everything okay?" Aaron hesitated. This job, despite its monotony, had been his safety net, but now it felt like an anchor holding him back. "I'm managing some personal projects," he replied cautiously. "It's been a little demanding." His manager nodded but didn't seem convinced. The meeting ended with a warning about prioritizing his responsibilities. As Aaron walked back to his desk, he felt a pang of fear. Could he risk losing his job? And if he did, would his business be enough to sustain him? That evening, Aaron revisited his goals. He had always envisioned quitting his job, but not until this side hustle was more stable. Yet the tension between his two commitments was becoming unsustainable. After much deliberation, he decided to give himself a deadline: 6 months. If his business could cover his living expenses consistently for half a year, he would take the leap. In the meantime, Aaron sought ways to optimize his workflow. He hired a virtual assistant to handle customer service, freeing up hours each week. He also started outsourcing some of the marketing tasks that had consumed his evenings. These changes gave him breathing room, allowing him to focus on strategy and growth rather than daily operations. Around this time, Aaron's mentor, Linda, introduced him to the concept of leveraging networks. "Aaron," she said during one of their meetings, "wealth is rarely built in isolation. The most successful people surround themselves with others who elevate them." Following her advice, Aaron started attending more networking events and joining online communities of entrepreneurs. It was in one such community that he met Raj, a tech-savvy marketer who specialized in e-commerce. The two hit it off immediately, and Raj offered to collaborate on improving Aaron's store. In exchange, Aaron would teach Raj about investing, an area where he had grown more confident under Linda's guidance. With Raj's help, Aaron revamped his website, making it faster, more user-friendly, and visually appealing. They implemented advanced marketing techniques like retargeting ads and email campaigns, which significantly boosted sales. By the end of the 4th month, Aaron's store was not only covering his living expenses but also generating a surplus. The deadline he had set for himself suddenly felt achievable. As the 6th month approached, Aaron made one of the most difficult decisions of his life. He handed in his resignation. Walking out of the office for the last time, he felt a mix of exhilaration and fear. This was it. No more safety net. His success or failure would now depend entirely on his ability to sustain and grow his business. With his newfound freedom, Aaron threw himself into expanding his ventures. Linda encouraged him to explore real estate, suggesting he invest in rental properties. Aaron took the plunge, purchasing a small apartment with the savings from his store. He spent weeks learning about property management and rental agreements, determined to make this new endeavor a success. The rental income, though modest, added another layer of financial security. Meanwhile, Aaron started sharing his journey online. He created a YouTube channel and a blog, documenting the lessons he had learned about dropshipping, investing, and personal development. His authenticity resonated with others who were starting their own journeys, and his audience grew rapidly. Soon, he began monetizing his content through sponsorships, ad revenue, and online courses. One evening, as Aaron reviewed his growing streams of income, he realized something profound. He was no longer just chasing money. He was building a life of purpose and freedom, a life where he could inspire others while continuously learning and growing. Of course, the journey wasn't without its setbacks. There were weeks when sales dipped, tenants missed rent payments, or his content didn't perform as expected. But Aaron had learned to see these moments not as failures but as opportunities to adapt and improve. By the end of the year, Aaron had surpassed his initial goal of financial independence. His store was thriving, his rental property was generating steady income, and his online presence had opened doors he never imagined possible. For the first time in his life, he felt like he was in control, not just of his finances but of his destiny. Yet, Aaron knew this was just the beginning. His vision extended far beyond his current success. He wanted to create a legacy, something that would outlive him and inspire generations to come. With each passing day, he grew more determined to turn that vision into reality. Aaron stood at the threshold of a new chapter. With his full-time job behind him, his focus was entirely on building his empire. The first few weeks of full-time entrepreneurship were exhilarating but nerve-wracking. He was no longer constrained by his corporate schedule, yet the absence of a steady paycheck was a constant reminder that failure was not an option. To maintain his momentum, Aaron structured his days with military precision. Mornings were dedicated to deep work, analyzing data, strategizing marketing campaigns, and expanding his product range. Afternoons were reserved for learning, whether through books, webinars, or conversations with his mentor Linda. Evenings were for reflection and planning, ensuring every day brought him closer to his ultimate goal. One of Aaron's first big moves as a full-time entrepreneur was to diversify his investments further. Linda had often emphasized the importance of not putting all his eggs in one basket. While his dropshipping business continued to grow, Aaron began exploring other income streams. Real estate had already proven to be a stable investment, so he decided to expand his portfolio. After months of research, Aaron purchased his second rental property, a duplex in an up-and-coming neighborhood. The renovation process was a crash course in project management. From dealing with contractors to ensuring the property was up to code, Aaron faced challenges at every turn. But the effort paid off. Within weeks of listing, both units were rented out, adding a significant boost to his passive income. As his financial stability improved, Aaron began reflecting on the broader purpose of his journey. He realized that while financial independence was a powerful motivator, his ultimate satisfaction came from helping others achieve the same freedom. Inspired by this realization, he decided to create a mentorship program for aspiring entrepreneurs. The program started small. Aaron hosted free webinars, sharing the lessons he had learned about building a business, managing finances, and cultivating the mindset necessary for success. The response was overwhelming. People from all walks of life reached out, eager to learn from someone who had walked the path they aspired to follow. Encouraged by the enthusiasm, Aaron developed a structured curriculum and began charging a modest fee for his mentorship services. The mentorship program not only helped others but also enriched Aaron's own journey. Every question posed by his mentees, every challenge they faced, pushed him to think more deeply about his own strategies and refine his approach. The connections he made through the program also opened new doors, introducing him to collaborators and opportunities he hadn't anticipated. One such opportunity came in the form of a partnership with Raj, the e-commerce expert who had helped revamp Aaron's online store. Raj proposed launching a new venture together, an e-commerce platform that focused on eco-friendly products. The idea resonated with Aaron, who had always been mindful of the environmental impact of his businesses. Together, they pooled their resources and expertise to create a brand that not only generated profits but also promoted sustainability. The launch of the new platform was a resounding success. Their marketing campaigns struck a chord with customers, and the demand for their products exceeded expectations. For Aaron, the venture was more than just another income stream. It was a testament to the power of collaboration and shared values. Despite his growing success, Aaron never lost sight of the struggles that had shaped his journey. He often revisited the affirmations he had written in his notebook during those early days. Each line reminded him of the promises he had made to himself and the lessons he had learned along the way. I am capable of achieving extraordinary success. Every challenge is an opportunity to grow. I am building the life I deserve. These words had guided him through moments of doubt and difficulty, and now they served as a foundation for his continued growth. One evening, as Aaron sat in his home office reviewing his progress, he received an unexpected email. It was from a publishing house that had come across his blog and YouTube channel. They were impressed by his story and wanted to collaborate on a book about his journey from struggling corporate worker to self-made entrepreneur. The idea of writing a book had never crossed Aaron's mind, but the more he thought about it, the more it appealed to him. Sharing his story in a tangible, lasting format seemed like the perfect way to reach even more people. Over the next few months, Aaron poured his heart into the manuscript, detailing not just his successes but also the failures, sacrifices, and lessons that had defined his path. The book, titled The Millionaire Path, Turning Dreams into Reality, was released to critical acclaim. It resonated deeply with readers, many of whom saw their own struggles reflected in Aaron's journey. The book's success further elevated Aaron's profile, turning him into a sought-after speaker at conferences and events. Through it all, Aaron remained grounded. He often thought back to the freezing nights of his childhood, the dim glow of his desk lamp, and the notebook where it all began. Those memories reminded him of how far he had come and how much further he could go. As Aaron looked ahead, his vision grew even bolder. He dreamed of creating a foundation to support aspiring entrepreneurs, providing them with resources and mentorship to build their own paths to success. He also planned to expand his businesses internationally, taking his ventures to new markets and audiences. But for now, he took a moment to appreciate the present, the freedom, the purpose, and the impact he had worked so hard to achieve. The journey was far from over, but Aaron knew he was exactly where he was meant to be. Aaron's journey had reached a new phase. With a successful e-commerce platform, multiple rental properties, a mentorship program, and a best-selling book under his belt, he was no longer chasing stability. He was building legacy. Yet, as his ventures grew, so did the complexity of managing them. His days had become a whirlwind of meetings, emails, and strategy sessions. While he enjoyed the hustle, Aaron couldn't ignore the creeping exhaustion. The very freedom he had fought so hard to achieve was starting to feel like another kind of confinement. It was clear he needed a system to balance his expanding empire with his personal well-being. Linda, his mentor, noticed the strain during one of their regular check-ins. "Aaron," she said, "the most successful people aren't just good at making money. They're good at building systems. It's time you focus on working on your business, not in your business." Her words resonated. Aaron realized that while he had scaled his ventures, he hadn't scaled himself. He was still handling too many day-to-day operations. Over the next few weeks, he began identifying areas where he could delegate and automate. This decision marked a turning point in his approach to leadership. The first step was hiring a dedicated team for his e-commerce business. Aaron brought in experts to handle marketing, supply chain management, and customer service. With Raj continuing as a strategic partner, the business operated more smoothly than ever. For his real estate portfolio, he hired a property management company to oversee tenant relations and maintenance, freeing him from the minutiae of running multiple properties. While his businesses began running like well-oiled machines, Aaron shifted his focus to personal growth. He started meditating daily, took up journaling again, and committed to spending quality time with his family and close friends. These changes rejuvenated him, allowing him to think more creatively and strategically. Around this time, Aaron began exploring philanthropy. He had always believed in giving back, but now he wanted to formalize his efforts. He started by funding scholarships for underprivileged students pursuing business or technology degrees. The initiative, named the Pathfinder Fund, quickly gained traction. Applications poured in, and Aaron felt a deep sense of fulfillment knowing he was helping others realize their potential. As the fund grew, Aaron saw an opportunity to align it with his mentorship program. He introduced a new component. Scholarship recipients would also receive mentorship and internships through his network of businesses and partners. The initiative not only empowered young entrepreneurs but also created a pipeline of innovative thinkers who could contribute to Aaron's ventures in the future. Amid these developments, Aaron faced a challenge that tested his resilience. One of his e-commerce competitors launched a smear campaign, spreading misinformation about his business practices. The accusations were baseless, but the impact on his brand was immediate. Sales plummeted, and social media was flooded with negative comments. For a moment, Aaron felt the familiar weight of doubt. Had he grown too fast? Was this a sign to pull back? But the lessons he had learned over the years reminded him to see challenges as opportunities. Instead of reacting defensively, Aaron focused on transparency. He released a detailed statement addressing the accusations, backed by evidence that disproved them. He also hosted a live Q&A session, inviting customers and stakeholders to ask questions directly. The strategy worked. Not only did the campaign backfire on his competitor, but Aaron's authenticity and accountability won him even greater loyalty from his audience. The incident reinforced an important lesson. Success wasn't just about making money, it was about building trust and integrity. With his reputation restored, Aaron turned his attention to expanding internationally. His eco-friendly e-commerce brand had gained a loyal following in the US, and he saw untapped potential in Europe and Asia. Raj, who had connections in these markets, spearheaded the expansion. Together, they navigated the complexities of international logistics, marketing, and cultural adaptation. The expansion was a resounding success. Within a year, their products were being sold in over 20 countries, and the brand became a global name. Aaron was now earning in multiple currencies, and his portfolio had grown to include investments in emerging markets and green technologies. Despite his achievements, Aaron remained deeply connected to his roots. He often visited the modest neighborhood where he had grown up, speaking at local schools and community centers. He shared his story, emphasizing the importance of resilience, education, and the power of dreaming big. These visits weren't just about giving back. They were a reminder of where his journey had begun. One day, during a quiet moment of reflection, Aaron found himself flipping through the pages of his old notebook. The affirmations he had written so long ago still resonated. I am capable of achieving extraordinary success. Every challenge is an opportunity to grow. I am building the life I deserve. He realized that while his circumstances had changed dramatically, his core values remained the same. Aaron's journey was no longer just about reaching milestones. It was about living a life of purpose, impact, and authenticity. As Aaron looked to the future, his vision grew even bolder. He wanted to create a platform that combined education, mentorship, and funding to empower millions of aspiring entrepreneurs worldwide. It was an ambitious dream, but Aaron knew from experience that every great achievement began with a single step. And so, with renewed energy and an unwavering belief in the power of persistence, Aaron prepared to embark on the next phase of his journey. Aaron's empire was flourishing, but his ambitions continued to grow. The success of his businesses, investments, and philanthropic endeavors had elevated him to a position where his influence extended beyond his immediate ventures. Yet Aaron knew that with great influence came greater responsibility. One evening, as he reviewed the progress of his Pathfinder Fund and mentorship program, an idea struck him. Why limit his impact to a few hundred individuals when he had the resources and experience to empower millions? He envisioned a global platform, a hub where aspiring entrepreneurs could access education, funding, and mentorship in one place. It would be a one-stop solution for dreamers who lacked resources but had the determination to succeed. He began laying the groundwork for this ambitious project, naming it the Catalyst Network. Aaron's goal was clear: to build a platform that combined the best elements of online education, community networking, and venture funding. He wanted users to not only learn from industry experts but also collaborate with peers and pitch their ideas to potential investors. To bring his vision to life, Aaron assembled a team of technologists, educators, and business leaders. Together, they brainstormed ways to make the Catalyst Network accessible, engaging, and impactful. Aaron's experience as an entrepreneur guided many of their decisions. For example, he insisted that the platform include a feature where users could simulate running a business, an interactive tool that allowed them to practice financial planning, marketing, and decision-making in a risk-free environment. The platform's development took nearly a year, during which Aaron faced a series of challenges. Building a scalable and secure platform required significant investment, and while Aaron had the funds, he wanted the project to be self-sustaining in the long run. To achieve this, he introduced a freemium model. Basic features would be free, while advanced tools and mentorship access would require a subscription. He also secured partnerships with corporations and educational institutions, who agreed to sponsor scholarships for deserving users. When the Catalyst network finally launched, the response was overwhelming. Within weeks, thousands of users from around the world signed up, eager to learn and grow. The stories of these users inspired Aaron and his team. There was Maria, a single mother from Brazil who used the platform to start a successful online bakery, and Aditya, a college student from India who developed an eco-friendly packaging solution and secured funding through the Catalyst network. Aaron's days became a blend of running his businesses, expanding his philanthropic efforts, and nurturing the Catalyst network. Despite his busy schedule, he made it a point to connect personally with users of the platform. He hosted live Q&A sessions, shared lessons from his own journey, and celebrated their milestones. The platform wasn't just a business for Aaron, it was a manifestation of his life's purpose. However, as the platform gained global recognition, it also attracted scrutiny. Critics questioned the platform's ability to deliver on its promises and accused Aaron of monetizing dreams. While such criticism stung, Aaron remained steadfast. He doubled down on transparency, publishing regular reports on the platform's impact and ensuring that every dollar earned was reinvested into improving the user experience. Amid the whirlwind of running the Catalyst network, Aaron decided to take a step back and focus on his personal life. For years, his relentless drive had left little room for relationships or hobbies. Now, with his ventures running smoothly, he sought to reconnect with old friends, explore new interests, and travel the world. On one of these trips, Aaron visited Kenya, where the Pathfinder Fund had recently partnered with a local organization to support young entrepreneurs. Meeting these young innovators in person left Aaron deeply moved. Their resilience and creativity reminded him of his own early struggles, reigniting his determination to make the Catalyst network the most powerful tool for entrepreneurship the world had ever seen. Back home, Aaron began exploring the integration of cutting-edge technologies like AI and blockchain into the platform. He envisioned AI mentors that could provide personalized guidance and blockchain solutions to ensure secure, transparent funding transactions. These innovations positioned the Catalyst network as a leader in the field, attracting even more users and investors. Despite his growing fame and fortune, Aaron remained humble. He often reflected on the moments that had defined his journey, the nights spent staring at his empty bank account, the mentors who had believed in him, and the people who had supported his vision. These memories kept him grounded, reminding him that success was never an individual achievement. It was a collective effort shaped by the people and experiences along the way. One evening, as Aaron sat in his office overlooking the city skyline, he opened the notebook that had accompanied him since the beginning of his journey. The affirmations were still there, as powerful as ever. I am capable of achieving extraordinary success. Every challenge is an opportunity to grow. I am building the life I deserve. He smiled, realizing how far he had come. But Aaron also knew that his journey was far from over. The world was full of dreamers like him, people with potential, ambition, and the drive to create something extraordinary. And as long as there were dreams to be nurtured, Aaron would keep building, innovating, and inspiring. Aaron's legacy was taking shape. The Catalyst Network had become a beacon for aspiring entrepreneurs worldwide, offering tools, mentorship, and funding opportunities that empowered users to transform their dreams into reality. Yet Aaron knew this was just the beginning. The deeper he delved into the lives of the people his platform had impacted, the more determined he became to make the world a better place. Not just through business, but by addressing the systemic barriers that kept so many from succeeding. One of the recurring challenges Aaron noticed was the lack of basic financial literacy among users. Many of the entrepreneurs who joined the Catalyst network had innovative ideas, but struggled to manage their finances effectively. They didn't understand concepts like budgeting, saving, or investment strategies, often leading to avoidable setbacks. Aaron decided to address this gap head-on by launching a dedicated financial education initiative within the platform. Partnering with financial experts and educators, He created a comprehensive curriculum that included interactive lessons, simulations, and real-world case studies. The goal was to equip users with the skills needed not only to start a business, but to sustain and grow it over time. The program's impact was immediate and profound. Users began sharing success stories of how simple changes in their financial habits, tracking expenses, reinvesting profits, and planning for the future, transformed their businesses. For Aaron, these stories were a testament to the power of knowledge and the ripple effect it could create. While his focus on education expanded, Aaron's personal life also took an unexpected turn. During a charity gala organized to raise funds for underprivileged youth, he met Emily, a social entrepreneur whose nonprofit provided tech training to rural communities. Emily's passion for empowering others mirrored Aaron's own, and the two quickly bonded over their shared vision for a more equitable world. As their relationship blossomed, Emily became a source of inspiration and grounding for Aaron. Her work reminded him that success wasn't just about profit. It was about creating meaningful change. Together, they began collaborating on projects that blended their expertise. One such project was the introduction of a new feature on the Catalyst network, a section dedicated to social entrepreneurship, helping users build businesses that prioritize impact over income. Aaron and Emily's partnership extended beyond their professional lives. Emily's unwavering belief in Aaron helped him navigate one of the most challenging periods of his career. A major data breach in the Catalyst network threatened to undermine everything he had built. User trust plummeted as personal information was compromised, and Aaron found himself in the crosshairs of public scrutiny. The breach was a wake-up call. Aaron immediately assembled a crisis management team, bringing in cybersecurity experts to identify vulnerabilities and implement stronger safeguards. He personally addressed the platform's users, taking full responsibility for the incident and outlining the steps being taken to prevent future breaches. While the situation tested Aaron's resolve, it also demonstrated his integrity. His transparency and quick action won back the trust of many users, and the Catalyst network emerged stronger than before. The experience reinforced an important lesson. Leadership wasn't about avoiding mistakes. It was about how you responded to them. As the platform stabilized, Aaron began looking toward the future. He had always been fascinated by emerging technologies, and he believed they held the key to addressing some of the world's biggest challenges. Artificial intelligence, blockchain, and renewable energy were areas he wanted to explore further, not just for their business potential but for their ability to drive societal progress. To stay ahead, Aaron launched an innovation lab as part of the Catalyst network. The lab brought together scientists, technologists, and visionaries to develop solutions for issues like climate change, education access, and global poverty. Projects ranged from AI-driven tools that optimized agricultural yields to blockchain-based systems that ensured transparency in humanitarian aid. One project in particular captured Aaron's imagination, a platform that used AI to match entrepreneurs with resources tailored to their unique needs. Whether it was funding, mentorship, or educational content, the platform used data-driven insights to create personalized roadmaps for success. It was a natural evolution of the Catalyst network and aligned perfectly with Aaron's mission to democratize access to opportunity. Amid these innovations, Aaron found time to reconnect with his past. He visited his childhood neighborhood, speaking at schools and community events about his journey. Standing in front of students who reminded him of his younger self, Aaron felt a profound sense of gratitude. These visits weren't just about inspiring others. They were about honoring the struggles that had shaped him. One afternoon, during a cue in a session at a local high school, a student asked, "What keeps you going even after you've achieved so much?" Aaron paused, thinking of the notebook he still kept on his desk. The words he had written all those years ago echoed in his mind. "I am capable of achieving extraordinary success. Every challenge is an opportunity to grow. I am building the life I deserve." "What keeps me going," he finally replied, "is knowing that success isn't a destination. It's a journey. Every day is a chance to learn, grow, and make a difference. And as long as I can help even one person believe in their dreams, I know my work isn't done." The room erupted in applause, but Aaron's focus was on the faces before him, young, eager, and full of potential. They were the future, and Aaron was committed to paving the way for them. As he left the school that day, Aaron felt a renewed sense of purpose. His journey had brought him farther than he had ever imagined, but the road ahead was still full of possibilities. There were more dreams to nurture, more barriers to break, and more lives to uplift. Aaron's vision for the Catalyst Network and its offshoot projects was expanding rapidly, but so were the challenges that came with scaling a global platform. By now, the Catalyst Network had reached millions of users across more than 40 countries. Entrepreneurs were building thriving businesses, creating jobs, and generating impactful change in their communities. Yet the complexity of running such a vast ecosystem required Aaron to navigate uncharted waters. One of the most pressing challenges was maintaining a balance between growth and accessibility. While the freemium model had been successful, Aaron wanted to ensure the platform remained inclusive for users in underprivileged areas. After much deliberation, he introduced a sliding scale subscription model. Users would pay based on their local purchasing power, with sponsorships covering the cost for those who couldn't afford it. The move was risky. It reduced immediate revenue, but Aaron's commitment to impact over profit never wavered. This decision turned out to be transformative. The sliding scale model increased global participation, especially in underserved regions. Entrepreneurs from rural villages in Africa, remote towns in Southeast Asia, and inner-city neighborhoods in South America began sharing their success stories. For Aaron, these stories were the heartbeat of his mission. One evening, Aaron was reviewing a report on the platform's growth when he received an email from a user named Mateo, a farmer from Peru. Mateo had used the Catalyst Network to learn about sustainable farming practices and secure funding for an irrigation system. His farm, which had struggled for years, was now thriving, providing food for his village and income for his family. The email ended with a simple line: "You gave me hope when I had none." Aaron read those words over and over. In that moment, he realized the full impact of his work. The Catalyst Network wasn't just a business. It was a movement, a lifeline for people like Mateo who needed the right tools and encouragement to rise above their circumstances. Inspired by Mateo's story, Aaron launched a new initiative called Impact Circles. These were local chapters of the Catalyst Network that allowed users to connect offline, share resources, and collaborate on projects. Each chapter was led by volunteers who received training and support from Aaron's team. The idea was to foster a sense of community and amplify the impact of the platform at the grassroots level. While Impact Circles gained momentum, Aaron turned his attention to another project that had been close to his heart: addressing climate change. His innovation lab had been working on a series of green initiatives, and Aaron wanted to ensure these ideas translated into real-world impact. One of the lab's most promising projects was a blockchain-based platform for tracking and trading carbon credits. The system aimed to incentivize businesses to reduce their carbon footprints while providing transparent data to regulators and consumers. To test the platform, Aaron partnered with several corporations and government agencies. The pilot program was a success, leading to a significant reduction in emissions among participating businesses. Encouraged by these results, Aaron decided to scale the project globally, positioning the Catalyst Network as a leader in sustainable entrepreneurship. Despite these successes, Aaron's journey wasn't without setbacks. A major server outage disrupted the platform for nearly a week, sparking frustration among users and criticism from the media. The experience was a stark reminder of the vulnerabilities inherent in running a tech-driven operation. Aaron immediately prioritized infrastructure upgrades, investing in redundancies and cybersecurity measures to prevent future disruptions. Through it all, Aaron leaned on his growing network of collaborators and advisors. Emily, now his wife and co-visionary, was a constant source of support. Together, they had become a power couple in the entrepreneurial and philanthropic worlds, often speaking at conferences and leading workshops. Emily's nonprofit work continued to inspire Aaron, and the two frequently brainstormed ways to integrate their efforts. During one of these conversations, Emily proposed an idea that would become Aaron's next big project: a global summit for social entrepreneurship. The event, called Catalyst Con, would bring together innovators, investors, and changemakers from around the world to share ideas, form partnerships, and tackle pressing global issues. Aaron loved the idea and threw his full weight behind it. The inaugural Catalyst Con was held in a sprawling convention center in Singapore. Over 5,000 attendees gathered to exchange ideas and celebrate the transformative power of entrepreneurship. Keynote speakers included Aaron, Emily, and global leaders in business and social impact. The event was a resounding success, leading to the formation of dozens of new ventures and initiatives. As Aaron stood on stage during the closing ceremony, he felt a profound sense of accomplishment. The journey from a struggling 26-year-old with $78 in his bank account to a global entrepreneur and philanthropist had been nothing short of extraordinary. Yet he knew his work was far from over. Returning to his hotel room that evening, Aaron opened his notebook, the same one he had started during those early, uncertain days. He flipped to a blank page and wrote a new affirmation. "I will leave the world better than I found it." The words reflected not just his personal ambition, but the essence of his life's mission. For Aaron, success was no longer about reaching a destination. It was about the ongoing journey, the lives he touched, and the legacy he was building. As the Catalyst Network continued to grow and evolve, Aaron remained steadfast in his commitment to empowering others. He had become a symbol of hope and possibility, a reminder that even the humblest beginnings could lead to extraordinary outcomes. Aaron sat in his office, the evening sun casting long shadows across the room. The world outside was abuzz with progress, new ideas, new businesses, and new lives being shaped through the Catalyst Network. Yet as he gazed at the growing list of projects on his screen, Aaron felt a familiar pull to reflect on the deeper purpose of his work. Was he truly doing enough to address the world's most pressing challenges? While the Catalyst Network had transformed countless lives, Aaron had come to realize that systemic change required a broader approach. His work had largely focused on individual empowerment, but global issues like inequality, climate change, and access to education needed collective action. Inspired by his recent success with Impact Circles and the global reach of CatalystCon, Aaron decided it was time to take his mission to the next level. His vision was ambitious, a global coalition of changemakers dedicated to addressing systemic barriers to progress. He called it the Global Impact Alliance. Unlike the Catalyst Network, which focused on individual entrepreneurs, this initiative would bring together governments, corporations, nonprofits, and educational institutions to tackle large-scale issues collaboratively. The first challenge Aaron chose to address was digital equity. Despite advances in technology, millions of people worldwide still lacked access to the internet and digital tools. Aaron believed that bridging this gap was critical for unlocking human potential. Through the Global Impact Alliance, he partnered with tech companies to develop affordable hardware and expand internet connectivity in underserved regions. One of their first projects was in rural India, where they installed solar-powered Wi-Fi hubs and distributed tablets preloaded with educational and business resources. The initiative was a game changer. In just a year, communities that had been disconnected from the digital world were thriving. Students were excelling in online courses, farmers were accessing market data to negotiate better prices, and small business owners were reaching customers far beyond their local villages. Aaron's belief in the transformative power of technology had never felt more validated. As the Global Impact Alliance gained momentum, Aaron faced another crossroads. The sheer scale of his projects had begun to take a toll on his health and personal life. While Emily remained his strongest supporter, she often reminded him of the importance of balance. "You've built so much, Aaron," she said one evening. "But remember, even the strongest bridges need maintenance." Her words struck a chord. Aaron realized that while he had poured his energy into empowering others, he hadn't taken enough time to recharge himself. In the weeks that followed, he began delegating more responsibilities to his team. He also started setting boundaries, dedicating weekends to family and personal growth. This newfound balance brought clarity to Aaron's vision. He began exploring ways to ensure that his initiatives could sustain themselves without his constant involvement. To this end, he created a leadership academy within the Catalyst Network, training the next generation of changemakers to take the reins. The program emphasized not just technical skills, but also the values of empathy, integrity, and resilience that Aaron believed were essential for impactful leadership. Meanwhile, CatalystCon evolved into a year-round initiative, with regional events and online forums that allowed participants to stay connected and collaborate continuously. Aaron also expanded the scope of the Global Impact Alliance, launching initiatives focused on renewable energy, global healthcare access, and gender equality. Each project was led by passionate individuals Aaron had mentored or collaborated with over the years, ensuring they reflected his values and vision. One of the most impactful projects to emerge from the Global Impact Alliance was a partnership with leading environmental organizations to combat deforestation. Using satellite imagery and AI technology, they developed a system to monitor deforestation in real time and provide actionable insights to governments and conservation groups. The initiative not only preserved vast tracts of forest, but also created sustainable livelihoods for local communities through ecotourism and renewable energy projects. Through all these efforts, Aaron remained grounded by his interactions with the people his work touched. During a visit to a remote school in Kenya, he met Amina, a young girl who had used resources from the Catalyst Network to start a business making reusable sanitary products for women in her village. Her business had not only provided her with an income, but also improved the lives of hundreds of women in her community. As Amina shared her story, Aaron felt a profound sense of fulfillment. Her courage and ingenuity were a testament to the potential that lay within every individual, waiting to be unlocked with the right opportunities. It was moments like these that reminded Aaron why he had embarked on this journey in the first place. Despite his success, Aaron remained acutely aware of the work that still needed to be done. He often reflected on the words he had written in his notebook years ago. I am capable of achieving extraordinary success. Every challenge is an opportunity to grow. I am building the life I deserve. These affirmations had guided him through moments of doubt and triumph alike, and now they served as a reminder that his mission was far from over. He was building something far greater than a personal legacy. He was building a movement. As the sun set on another day of progress, Aaron felt a quiet sense of pride. His journey had taken him from a tiny apartment with $78 in his bank account to a position where he could influence global change. Yet he knew that his greatest achievements lay ahead. The sun had barely risen, but Aaron was already at his desk, reviewing the latest reports from the Global Impact Alliance. The coalition had grown beyond anything he had imagined, with projects spanning from renewable energy initiatives in sub-Saharan Africa to education reform programs in Southeast Asia. Each endeavor was a testament to the power of collective action, yet Aaron couldn't shake the feeling that the real challenge lay ahead, ensuring the sustainability of his work for generations to come. It was during one of his morning reflections that Aaron conceived his most ambitious idea yet, a global entrepreneurial university. Unlike traditional universities, this institution would focus on practical skills, mentorship, and real-world problem-solving. It would be a place where students from all backgrounds could learn how to build businesses, drive social impact, and navigate the complexities of a rapidly changing world. Aaron wanted the university to embody the values that had guided his own journey. Accessibility was paramount. He envisioned a hybrid model, combining physical campuses in key regions with an online platform that allowed anyone, anywhere, to participate. Scholarships would ensure that financial barriers didn't prevent talented individuals from joining. The project required immense planning and resources. Aaron reached out to his network of collaborators, tapping into the expertise of educators, technologists, and industry leaders. Emily played a key role, helping design a curriculum that blended entrepreneurship with ethics, sustainability, and community building. Together, they laid the foundation for an institution that would empower future leaders to not just succeed but to leave the world better than they found it. The university's launch was set for 3 years later, and in the meantime, Aaron focused on expanding the Catalyst Network's impact. He launched a global incubator program, offering funding and mentorship to startups tackling critical issues like clean water access, affordable healthcare, and climate resilience. The program attracted applications from thousands of entrepreneurs, and Aaron took a personal interest in mentoring some of the most promising teams. One of these teams, led by a young engineer named Kavita, developed a breakthrough water purification system powered by solar energy. Kavita's innovation had the potential to provide clean drinking water to millions of people in remote areas. Aaron worked closely with her team, connecting them with investors and helping scale their operations. Within a year, the system was being deployed across drought-prone regions, saving lives and creating economic opportunities. As the successes multiplied, so did the challenges. Aaron faced mounting pressure to ensure the initiatives didn't lose their focus or values as they grew. Critics accused him of overextending himself, warning that his vision risked becoming diluted. Aaron took these concerns seriously, convening a summit of his closest advisors and collaborators to reassess priorities and streamline operations. The summit proved transformative by focusing on their core mission, empowering individuals and communities. Aaron and his team refined their strategies and set clear benchmarks for success. This renewed clarity allowed them to expand with purpose, rather than simply chasing scale. Amid the whirlwind of activity, Aaron found moments of introspection. He often returned to his childhood neighborhood, visiting the school where he had once sat dreaming of a better future. On one such visit, he announced a new initiative, a fund dedicated to supporting first-generation students in accessing higher education. The fund was named after his parents, who had taught him the value of perseverance and integrity despite their struggles. During the fund's launch event, Aaron shared a personal story about the winter his family had spent huddled under blankets when their heater broke. "That experience shaped me," he told the audience. "It taught me that hardship isn't a reason to give up. It's a reason to rise." The audience erupted in applause, but Aaron's focus was on a group of young students in the front row. Their eyes shone with hope, and he could see in them the same hunger for a better life that had driven him. It was a reminder of why he did what he did. As the years passed, Aaron's vision for the global entrepreneurial university began to take shape. The first campus opened in Nairobi, chosen for its vibrant entrepreneurial spirit and strategic location. The inaugural class comprised students from over 50 countries, each bringing unique perspectives and ambitions. Aaron delivered the opening address, emphasizing that the university was not just a place to learn but a launchpad for change. "This is your moment," he told the students. "Your ideas, your courage, and your resilience will shape the future. Remember, success isn't about what you achieve for yourself. It's about what you create for others." The words resonated deeply, not just with the students but with Aaron himself. He had always believed that success was a journey, not a destination. And now, standing before the next generation of leaders, he felt the weight of that belief more than ever. As Aaron left the campus, he received a notification on his phone. Mateo, the farmer from Peru, who had inspired him years ago, had sent an update. Mateo's farm had grown into a cooperative, employing dozens of families and exporting produce to international markets. In his message, Mateo thanked Aaron for the tools and encouragement that had changed his life. Aaron smiled, his heart full. The ripple effects of his work were spreading farther than he had ever imagined. Yet he knew there was still so much to do. The sun dipped below the horizon as Aaron returned to his hotel room. He opened his notebook, now worn with years of use, and added a new affirmation. "I am building bridges for tomorrow." Aaron stood at the summit of his journey, yet the horizon before him was more expansive than ever. The impact of his work had reached every corner of the globe, millions of lives transformed through the Catalyst Network, the Global Impact Alliance, and now, the Global Entrepreneurial University. His ventures had not only created wealth but had empowered communities, fostered innovation, and tackled some of the world's most pressing challenges. Still, Aaron felt that his greatest achievement lay in the seeds he had planted for the future. As the years passed, Aaron began to step back from the day-to-day operations of his projects. The Leadership Academy he had established was thriving, producing visionary leaders who carried forward the mission with passion and precision. From rural entrepreneurs in Africa to tech pioneers in Silicon Valley, Aaron's proteges embodied his core values of resilience, integrity, and empathy. One of his most promising mentees, Kavita, the engineer behind the solar-powered water purification system, had expanded her initiative into a global operation. Her work had provided clean water to over 10 million people, and she credited Aaron's mentorship as the catalyst for her success. Watching Kavita receive international recognition at a global summit, Aaron felt a deep sense of fulfillment. This was the legacy he had always envisioned, not just his own achievements, but the ripple effects of empowering others. In the twilight of his career, Aaron turned his focus to writing and storytelling. He believed that sharing the lessons of his journey could inspire future generations to dream big and take action. His second book, Legacy in Action, Building a World That Lasts, became a bestseller, delving deeper into the philosophies and principles that had guided his life. The book was not just a recounting of his accomplishments, but a blueprint for others to create meaningful change in their own lives and communities. Aaron's storytelling extended beyond the written word. He launched a podcast, Voices of Change, where he interviewed entrepreneurs, activists, and changemakers who had used the Catalyst Network or the Global Impact Alliance to transform their lives. Each episode highlighted stories of resilience and innovation, inspiring listeners to believe in their own potential. The podcast quickly gained a global following, further amplifying Aaron's message of empowerment. As his public profile grew, Aaron received invitations to speak at some of the world's most prestigious events. From the United Nations to the World Economic Forum, his message remained consistent. True success lies in lifting others. We rise, he often said, not by climbing higher but by building ladders for others to follow. Aaron also devoted more time to his family and personal passions. He and Emily traveled extensively, exploring the world and deepening their bond. Together, they created a foundation focused on environmental conservation and social equity, combining their shared values into a lasting contribution to the planet. On Aaron's 50th birthday, his family and colleagues surprised him with a grand celebration. The event brought together people from every stage of his life, friends from his childhood neighborhood, former corporate colleagues, mentees, and global leaders. Each person shared how Aaron had impacted their lives, weaving a tapestry of gratitude and admiration. One moment from the evening stood out to Aaron. A young boy approached him, clutching a notebook much like the one Aaron had used to chart his own journey years ago. The boy introduced himself as Amir and shared that his parents had been among the first beneficiaries of the Catalyst Network. Inspired by their transformation, Amir was now studying to become an entrepreneur and hoped to one day create a platform of his own. Aaron knelt to Amir's level, his voice filled with emotion. "Remember," he said, "everything great starts with a single idea. Keep dreaming, keep building, and never stop believing in your potential." The exchange reminded Aaron of his own beginnings, the long nights, the affirmations, the doubts, and the determination to press forward. He realized that while his journey had been extraordinary, it was never truly his alone. Every step had been shaped by the people who had supported, challenged, and inspired him. In his later years, Aaron transitioned fully into an advisory role, allowing his mentees and collaborators to take the lead. The institutions he had built continued to thrive, carrying forward his vision of a world where opportunity was universal and success was shared. One quiet evening, Aaron sat by the window of his home, overlooking the lush valley bathed in the golden hues of sunset. He opened his notebook for what might be the final time. The pages were filled with affirmations, plans, and reflections, a chronicle of a life lived with purpose. On the last page, Aaron wrote a single sentence: "The greatest legacy is not what we leave behind, but what we inspire others to carry forward." As he closed the notebook, a sense of peace washed over him. He had built more than businesses. He had built hope. He had touched lives, created opportunities, and inspired generations to dream bigger than he ever could have imagined. Aaron knew his story would live on, not just in the platforms, initiatives, and institutions he had created, but in the hearts and minds of the countless people he had empowered. And that was enough.